My name is Scott McLaine, and I am the host of the NFSTI REOMasters Network. We're the nation's, or at least we'd like to say we're the nation's top REO training and coaching and marketing network. Currently, we have over 1,900 certified REO specialists that we've trained and certified. And today I'm very pleased to introduce to you Dan Waterman, who will be delivering his State of the Market address. And I'll be introducing him in just a moment. But before we get started on today's call, I'd like to ask everyone a question who's on this call. Do you think it's important that what's happening in Washington is important for your REO business? Do you think it's important to know what the banks are doing right now? Do you think it's important to know what the FDIC is doing right now? Do you think it would be nice to know which 9 asset management companies might steal the REO show in the near future? Well, I'm here to tell you that from Wall Street to your street, from the White House to your house, and from big business to your business, Dan Waterman has the facts, the figures, and the reports, and he's laying it all out for you today on this call. So before we get started, I want to introduce you to Dan. Dan Waterman has been training in the REO business for the last 3.5, 4 years. And again, like I mentioned earlier, he's trained in excess of 1,900 REO agents and certified them with the NFSTI Golden Feather certification, basically, which means that you've learned the fundamentals of the business and helped them to get started. He's also the co-founder and president of the NFSTI REOMasters Network and is also our senior REO instructor. Today's call is very informational, full of practical research and incredibly relevant information to your future success in REO. Dan's going to be getting started here in just a moment. I would like to thank our sponsors for the call, the Commercial REO Brokers Association and RealtyPilot.com. So without any further ado, it is time to get this State of the Market address underway. If you're on the call, it's exciting to have you here. I want to thank you for coming out, and I want to wish you all the best. Dan, are you on the call with us?
Yes, I am, Scott.
All right. Well, Dan, the show is yours. I think I've done the introduction. It's about the State of the Market, so why don't you take it away?
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for attending. Welcome to the first of the State of the Markets that's going to be occurring via teleconference. We have had 2 State of the Markets so far, one at the Founders Weekend for REO Masters Network, and we also had one at the Orlando and Atlanta courses that were just last week at the 2-day REO seminars. This is the first of a series that's going to be on the phone, however, and I look forward to tuning in each time we have the State of the Market. And as Scott indicated, if you've registered on REOMastersNetwork.com for the State of the Market, you're ready to go and you'll receive those updates every time we're going to be going live with that. I'm going to jump in here in just a second, but I just kind of wanted to give a little preface about what this is all about. And what it's about is one thing that I've discovered in the adventure that I've been on over the last few years, going from an active REO specialist and BPO specialist in the market, and then transitioning over to a coach and trainer and consultant, and then just having a certification course that needed to stay on the cutting edge of what's happening. One thing that I have found is that this market and this industry has transformed several times over in the last few years alone, let alone the last couple of decades, which I unfortunately wasn't around the entire time to catch. I was still finishing up some undergraduate studies and whatnot, but since I've been in touch with the market and the REO industry directly, I've seen it transform dramatically. And for those of you out there who've been into this industry for as long as, and sometimes longer than I have, you've seen that as well. And that was what made this State of the Market address so important to me and to the REO Masters Network and NFSTI. Without the knowledge of the transformation, typically what we see is there's a sense of abandonment or loss by real estate agents who either were involved, wanting to get involved, or had been involved in some capacity and were trying to gain more business through the REO industry. And if you didn't really have an idea of what was happening at the higher levels, perhaps you could have been missing out on business because you were knocking on the wrong doors, or things changed and the place you were going to before wasn't the same anymore. It wasn't the proper contact. Maybe, as we've seen here in the recent past, there's been a moratorium, and you have to stay in tune with that in order to either do one of 2 things: go knock on the right door, or go find a different type of door to knock on. And in both cases, I think you're coming out ahead. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and talk about the state of the market as of August 31st, not September 1st, our apologies, August 31st, 2009. First of all, let's recap the 2008 TARP, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, and that was the inception date was October 14th, 2008. We're not even 1 year into it. The major target were what's called CDOs. Those are collateralized debt obligations. This is a type of asset that's it's an asset-backed security. Okay, so now what we've got here is a loan that was sold as a security, almost like a stock on Wall Street. So that's the target for the TARP program, was to try and figure out a way to recover from that and the loss that was occurring. The official site for that is www.federalreserve.gov. Okay, and then there's some navigation that you have to do, but to make it easier, just do /bank in FOREG. So that's BANKINFOREG /tarpinfo.htm. I'm going to give you a few of these links, so be sure to write these down. Just want to give you a heads up. You should definitely be writing this down. And also, this is being recorded so that you can play it at a later date, and we are going to line it up with a PowerPoint. So be looking for that in the next coming weeks. Okay, part of the TARP program is what's called Financial Stability Plan. The regulatory reform official website is financialstability.gov. The purpose here is it's a full-force comprehensive approach that seeks to stabilize the financial system and get lending flowing again. All right, there is what's called CAP, or the Capital Assistance Program, and something that we're going to be talking about a little bit later in our bulletin report at the end of this. You want to stay in tune with that, is what's called PPIP, which is a part of the Financial Stability Plan. And we're going to expand on that a little bit. And in PPIP, there has been 9 newly named asset management companies in that program. And I'm going to tell you who those are at the end of this State of the Market address during the bulletin report. Okay, moving forward, the purpose here was to restore confidence in financial institutions and ensure they have capital to lend. Okay, without the capital to lend, we can't recover because we can't get loans for our buyers. And there's also consumer and business lending initiative in there. Don't worry, this is going to become less dry and a little bit more applicable to your careers here in just a second. We just need to get the basics out of the way. All right, the Treasury and Federal Reserve work together, okay, to provide an initial $200 billion to private investors, and that was to unfreeze and reduce interest rates for loans to students, small businesses, and others. So we kind of have seen this at work now for a few months, and it doesn't seem to be going how they had hoped it would. Another plan that was devised is called Making Home Affordable Program. This is a different initiative under TARP. It's makinghomesaffordable.gov, and it was set up to help up to 5 million homeowners refinance and create a $75 billion loan modification program to help 4 million families avoid foreclosure. This is where we're at. This is where the state of the market picks up and starts to apply toward your career. The reason many of you have had a hard time finding REO listings and assignments is because we're right smack dab in the middle of this initiative. And all those modifications that are happening, they've been not allowed to fall into the foreclosure attorney's hands. They're waiting in loss mitigation to see if they can be modified. Again, we're not seeing the numbers that the government was hoping to see at that point. The only options listed for homeowners as of July 14th of 2009 for Making Homes Affordable, and I did check it just a moment ago, so it is current. You can either refinance or you can have a loan modification done, and all the terms by which they have to meet are listed on that website. And that is the official website for loan modification. However, there is a possibility that you can turn this into an income generation